The New York Jets made multiple big-name moves today in free agency, including a trade for a big-time safety here in the NFL. They added a ton of veteran leadership today, a ton of pass rush help, and a major upgrade in the secondary today. Today, we are breaking down the signing of linebacker Demario Davis, bringing him back home to East Rutherford, New Jersey, trading for Minkah Fitzpatrick, signing Joseph Ossai, and signing Kingsley Enagbare. My initial reaction to this was that this was a very aggressive day today for the New York Jets front office. So let's start with one of the biggest moves of the day, and that being the New York Jets trading for former Dolphins and Pittsburgh Steelers safety Minkah Fitzpatrick. The Jets gave up a 7th-round pick to acquire Fitzpatrick earlier this morning. I really like this move. This brings a lot of veteran presence into the locker room, especially the defensive locker room with Aaron Glenn calling plays this season. And Minkah is a proven playmaker at the safety position. He's known for his turnovers, his ball hawking ability, and his leadership in the secondary. And that's something the Jets were severely lacking last season in the secondary. The Jets, I guess their best safety last season, I'm going to have to go with Malachi Moore last season. He wasn't even starting for half of the season. So the impact on this Jets defense is huge. It immediately upgrades the Jets secondary. It allows the defense to create more turnovers and big plays, something that the New York Jets barely had last season. They had 0 interceptions. They became the very first NFL team in NFL history to not record a single interception in a single season. And this could change how the defense disguises coverages as well. I think Minkah, like I said, he's a huge ball hawk. When he plays his free safety position well, he's lights out on the field. He is lights out. Of course, he hasn't been the version of Minkah Fitzpatrick we all know and love for the past couple seasons now, but he is still a very, very solid choice to trade for at safety. For a 7th-round pick, too, that he may not be in his prime, but that's still Minkah Fitzpatrick. I wouldn't say that was a steal, but that's great value, I guess you could say. That is great. That is incredible value that the New York Jets would give up a 7th-round pick that they acquired from the Los Angeles Chargers to trade for safety Minkah Fitzpatrick. Now let's talk about the veteran leadership the Jets also added, this time not being the secondary, but inside the linebacker room, inside the box. The Jets bring home former Jet and former Saint linebacker Demario Davis on a 2-year deal. This move makes so much sense. One, because the Jets need help desperately in this linebacker room. And 2, Demario Davis is already a highly respected veteran linebacker. The Jets have such a young linebacker core. Jamien Sherwood, Marcelino McCrary-Ball. Those are all young guys who really were very unguided last season. They really had no guidance last season when it came to their play. Sure as hell showed that with Jamien Sherwood without C.J. Mosley this past season. Granted, that could also be because of the scheme change from Jeff Ulbrich to Steve Wilks. I believe that's the primary influence on Jamien Sherwood's downplay this season. But I feel like the Jets were severely lacking a veteran in that linebacker room, and bringing Demario Davis in, who is still, despite being in his mid-30s, the guy is still putting up elite numbers and is still arguably a top 10 linebacker in the NFL. This is my personal favorite move today for the Jets. Personally, this is my favorite because you don't have to spend big bucks on a linebacker who's going to be here for 4 years, and then the most likely the Jets will trade that guy within 2 and have a lot of dead cap money. No, you signed Demario Davis, who's already on the final chapter of his career, to a 2-year deal. Let him ride off into the sunset for the team that drafted him with the New York Jets. I think that is a great move. Like I said, he's still very productive at his age. He brings a lot of leadership and experience into the locker room, and he'll help stabilize this defensive locker room that I feel like was in shambles last season. He adds he adds a ton of communication and leadership on this defense as well. Concerns, age could be a factor, although, like I said a couple minutes ago, or a couple seconds ago, that Davis is still putting up very great stats, despite being in his mid-30s. You still have to watch out for that. And, I think the Jets, like I said as well, the Jets aren't looking for him to be a long-term answer. They're looking for him to be a short-term leader, and I feel like more of a mentor as well. But the Jets didn't stop there. right? There is more. They also added a couple of pass rush help as well by signing former Bengals defensive end Joseph Ossai, an edge rusher with a lot of explosiveness and a lot of upside as well. He may not be a name that most NFL fans know, but I feel like he's one of those guys that's very underrated, right? He's flashed a lot of potential when he's healthy, and why I think the Jets might like him is because he of course adds depth to this very non-existent in terms of depth defensive end room. He has a lot of depth to that pass rush rotation, and he's still relatively young with a lot of room to develop. So I think that's an automatic plus that with the New York Jets signing Joseph Ossai. He's most likely going to be in my opinion, he's most likely going to be a rotational pass rusher. I don't think he's going to be a starter. I think it provides great, like I said, it provides great depth to this defensive end rotation. I don't think he's going to be a starter. I think it's going to be Will McDonald and most likely Arvell Reese or David Bailey or Ruben Bain. I'm still going to go with Arvell Reese at 2, but it's most likely going to be a rookie and most likely Will McDonald as the other defensive end if the New York Jets are running a 3-4. But hey, this guy could be a good third down defensive end if the Jets need one, and he just adds a lot of depth to this roster, which is very good. Another defensive end signing. The Jets signed Kingsley Enagbare. I had to learn how to pronounce his name before I recorded this video, actually. Signed him to a 1-year, $10 million contract. A solid pass rusher. I'll give it to him. Solid pass rusher. He's got a good motor. He's very physical. Again, I feel like Enagbare, I would say he's the least I know of these free agents. So it may sound a little bland, my notes here on my Google Doc. I just hooked this up while I was, as soon as I got home from school. So again, I don't really know a ton about this guy, but I'm really excited to learn who he is as a player for the New York Jets. Again, this gives another depth piece for this defensive end, or for this defensive end room. And he could become another pass rushing threat. I really hope he does. And some other moves I want to discuss of the Jets not getting these players but letting these players go. First off, I want to address the biggest mistake the Jets made today, and that is letting go of kicker Nick Folk to the Atlanta Falcons for 2 years. Why? Right? Folk has been one of the most reliable kickers in the entire NFL. He's so consistent, even at 41, turning 42 years old this year. One of the most consistent, in my opinion, a top 3 kicker last season. In my opinion, he was a top 3 kicker last season behind Brandon Aubrey and Cam Little. Right? So replacing a kicker isn't easy. I hope the Jets know that. Right? If the replacement struggles, this move could come back to hurt them badly, especially because we don't want to risk what happened with Greg Zuerlein a couple years back when he was missing field goals left and right, and we rotated through Anders Carlson and whoever was also our kicker that year. I don't want another season like that. I want a good, stable kicker, and I thought the New York Jets had that with Nick Folk. But no, Jets have to jet. They always have to jet one way or another. It could be a great day like today with signings of Demario Davis, trading for Minkah Fitzpatrick. Oh, it's looking like a great day here in Florham Park. No, the Jets let Nick Folk walk, and he signs a 2-year deal with the Atlanta Falcons. Why? Why? Arguably a top 3 player on our team this past season. Why? Why do we let him walk? Why do the Jets constantly make dumb decisions like these? It could be the happiest day. They could win a Super Bowl and something terrible would happen to them. That is just, no other team is like the New York Jets. It impresses me how terrible of decisions they can make in one day. Granted, I still give the Jets a lot of credit for even bringing Folk back in the first place. Absolutely unbelievable kicker. But I hate the fact that the Jets just let him walk. Kickers aren't expensive at all. It was not hard to re-sign Folk to a 1 to 2 year deal. It really wasn't. I'm hoping that the Jets at least offered him something and at least tried to bring him back. I'm hoping that. If not, and they just said, we'll just let you test out free agency, what is that? I'm still upset that they did not bring him back, by the way. while the Jets made, like I said, while the Jets made a lot of strong defensive additions today, letting a very dependable kicker in Nick Folk walk could quietly become one of the most questionable decisions of this offseason for the Jets. That's all I'm saying. And one more thing, and one more departure worth mentioning as well is offensive guard John Simpson to the Baltimore Ravens. Simpson was a solid piece of the offensive line. He struggled a bit last season with his play and penalties, but in 2024, I thought Simpson was a great offensive lineman for us. He was awesome in 2024, and he wasn't bad in 2025. He just had a down year, right? So now this begs the decision if the Jets are going to bring back Elijah Vera Tucker, right? He wasn't signed today. I guarantee you he's one of the biggest names to go out for a guard. Granted, he has had 3 season-ending injuries, but teams would be all over him. A guy who could play 4 out of 5 positions on this offensive line is mind-blowing, especially at the NFL level. AVT, I would say, does best as a guard, and the Jets desperately need that. So now, considering his market, though, that could be concerning for the Jets' cap space. Elijah Vera Tucker would go for a lot more money than John Simpson would, so that's a little concerning. However, with the Jets letting Simpson walk, it leads me to believe there's a higher chance they bring back AVT than what I previously thought. That's just my take. It's not this Simpson move is not a massive headline move, but losing depth on this offensive line, especially with a guy who is a very solid all-lineman, in my opinion, I still think Simpson is very solid. Losing that depth is always something to keep an eye on, right? Because I think he's going to do good things with the Ravens. I do. I really think I think he's going to do great things with the Ravens. I think he's a great quarterback. Or a great, I don't know, why did I just say quarterback? Wow. A great offensive lineman. Overall, this was a very aggressive and interesting day for the Jets and free agency. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. You can follow both of my social medias down below. Jack Talks Jets on both Instagram and Twitter. And I will see you all in the next video. I could be making another video tonight for all I know. Maybe tomorrow as well. Like I said, this week is going to be a very, very busy week for me here on Jack Talks Jets, as well as other Jet content creators. But anyway, I will see you all in the next video. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video, and I will see you all next time. Peace out, Jet fans.